Hi,
Hello and good
everybody.
evening, everyone. Hi there. And how are we all doing? How are you, Azure?
I'm good. Our special
Excellent.
guest hasn't joined us yet.
No.
Hopefully, he'll be joining us after we get started.
Yeah.
And he might be in the live chat. So if y'all want to
Oh,
kind of keep an eye there,
okay.
we are expecting him to join us. So hopefully, we'll be seeing him soon. But
Super.
we'll go ahead and kind of get started.
Sure.
So, welcome everybody.
Woohoo.
We have with us in the studio, I'm Azure Robinson, a WikiTree team member. And then we
Mm.
have Greg Clark. He is our challenge facilitator.
Facilitator.
And then Thomas is our team captain for the week. Thank you,
Excellent.
Thomas, for stepping up to do that. And then Elaine is one of our participants. She has also been a team captain in the past and will be in the future. So looking forward to those challenges coming up. And of course,
next week.
Yeah, it's the next challenge. Yeah. So wanted to just briefly talk about our challenge guest this week was FTDNA's new general manager, Dave Vance. And it looks like we're having Celia join us. Celia is our challenge assistant. So, Greg, when she's available on there, you can add her.
I will. I
right.
think she has to connect her mic before I can click add.
Okay. So Dave is a lifelong genealogist with a professional career in IT services. Dave took a National Geographic Project DNA test in 2005 and has been a genetic genealogy enthusiast ever since. He has been the editor of the Journal of Genetic Genealogy, written books, tools, and articles on genetic genealogy, and finds occasions to speak publicly about various genetic genealogy topics. So that is our guest from this last week of our challenge. And has he shown up in the live chat yet, or?
I don't see him. I don't see him anywhere here. We have Ken, Lisa, Stephen.
All right.
I don't see Dave.
Okay. Well, we'll just keep going and hopefully he'll join us. So the WikiTree challenge, Greg, do you want to go ahead and share your screen and share that help page, the challenge help page for us?
Sure, the challenge help page. Okay. So let me just grab that. Sharing my screen.
I can put it up when you got it ready.
There we go. There we go.
Okay.
So what
do you want to zoom in? Oh no, that's not the challenge help page. That's our outline.
This one?
There we go.
Okay.
You want to zoom in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to talk about it?
So the WikiTree Challenge is our biggest ongoing community event. Every other week, a team of WikiTree volunteers grows connections for a special guest. So what is a CC7? It's the connection count to 7 degrees. And that's any relation within 7 degrees. So connections are family relationships, including relationships through marriage. Degrees measures the distance of relationships. Nuclear relatives, for example, parents, siblings, spouses, and children are 1 degree away. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, in-laws, and grandchildren are 2 degrees. So they're connected through 2 relationships and so on. So the higher your CC7 number is, the fuller your branches are.
Okay. Dave has joined us in the chat on YouTube.
Okay.
And he wants to know how he can connect here.
So let me go ahead and Dave, I'm going to send you the link for StreamYard.
Okay.
Let me just do that real quick. Yeah. I've got it.
Okay. Yeah. Check your email, Dave. You're getting an email.
Okay. Yeah, it's not on the YouTube link. It's on the StreamYard link. The link for the green room.
The green room, right.
So I'm just resending that to you. There you go. Okay. So we'll just give him a few minutes to be able to get in here.
Sure.
So if you want to go ahead and click into Dave's profile there.
Will do.
And we'll talk about let's see. So if you click on the link there for categories.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Okay, so you can see there, we have one category on Dave's profile, and that is the WikiTree Challenge Guest Stars category. Let me just make sure.
Yeah, and then when you open that up, you see a list of all the people who have been guest stars or WikiTree Challenge people since it's the third year we've run this contest?
It's actually the fourth, because
we started beginning of the fourth, beginning
2021. Yeah.
Right. So you'll see all the ones there. And if I click on the My Connections, what it's going to do is it's going to give me, because I'm the one logged in right now, it's going to show all the special guest stars that and how they're connected to me. So a bunch of them are cousins of mine. Leanne Kruger and Claire Bristol Banks was the closest one. But hi there, Dave. How you doing?
Hi guys. I'm sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
No worries.
No worries. We're just getting started, and we're just showing people how to go from from your profile into the connections of all the other guest stars who have been guest stars for the WikiTree Challenge. And I clicked on, I can actually go back one screen. There's the list of all the people who have been WikiTree Challenge guests in the past. And you can see most of them, in fact, are active WikiTree members. And you could click on any one to view their profiles. But if you click on the My Connections button, it shows you the list, the ones that are actually cousins, and then the ones that aren't cousins, even distant cousins, are these are connected. These are connections are through marriage. But because I'm logged in, these are the connections to me. But one of the features this has is you can put someone else's ID. So if we put in your ID, Dave Vance 6943. Which I'm sure everyone has memorized at this point. And hit go, we can see which of your fellow guest stars you are closest related to. And you're the closest cousin to Roberta Estes and Randy Seaver. That's very
nice. Cool. I actually hadn't tried this yet. This is very cool.
Isn't that cool? Yeah, and I think you get to work with Roberta from time to time, right?
I do. I know her well.
Okay. Then, did you? I mean, you probably already knew that you were cousins, I'm sure.
Actually, I think we knew we were related, but you know, the connections that you get through the Roots Tech app tend to be a little tenuous. And
right.
I think it said that we were closer than 20 generations, and that wasn't accurate. So. This one's more likely to be accurate. I'm going to investigate this one because.
Well, we can click on. You can just click on the View Relationship button here, that little icon, funky little icon, and your 8th cousin's twice removed, and there is the connection.
Nice. So it's up the white side, and then yeah, okay.
So we do have somebody that is closer to you, though.
Oh, we do.
So if you go down. On that page? No, I mean on the page you were on.
Oh, on the page I was on?
Yeah, scroll down and change Roberta's ID.
Oh.
Yeah, keep going.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, change her.
Change that ID to Lake 72.
Oh. Your 5th cousins to Catherine Lake.
There we go.
Wow.
Catherine Lake.
Line.
That's impressive.
Nice. Yeah, so we realized that when we were starting to look at the profiles with WikiTree Plus, we can look at profiles for the active challenge and previous challenges based on their week ID.
Right.
And we noticed that there was one profile that was carried over from the previous week. So I checked the connection and found that you're 5th cousins of there.
Wow.
Wow. Now, how come she doesn't show up in this list for him?
She might have taken off the challenge category, the challenge guest category.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So she's
So
not
if
in
you
the
get her to
category.
add back in. Right. So there we go. So
anyway,
anyone,
that was a fun
that
fact
is
for us.
fun. Yeah, look at that. So
I think that's our closest one so far between challenge guests.
Just a quick story. The ancestor there, Lois Melissa Hart, who died in 1909. I have an interesting series of letters from her daughter. Apparently, she was working on a farm when she was older, and she got a cut on her leg and didn't think anything of it. And she wrote her daughters and said it was a little trouble getting around. And there's a series about 5 of these letters, of which progressively the cut got worse. The final letter is from her daughter, who wrote to the other daughters and told them that their mother had died. The doctor had actually had to take the leg off, and she died while trying to recover from the shock of that procedure. So it's an interesting look into early American. Well, early, it was 1909, but still early American farm life. And I mean, she was brushing this off for months, saying it was nothing, and then eventually developed sepsis, or had it for a while. And so anyway, it's a pretty stark reminder of our ancestors' daily lives, to be honest. But
that is interesting. Wow.
So you have the letters with you?
I have the letters at home, yes. My grandfather, Fred Emerald Gates, who's on this list there as well, actually had a box. He had a box marked deaths, and in it was a series of different letters from his ancestors that reported deaths of different family members.
Oh my goodness!
That's really neat.
It was a very interesting,
macabre.
Yes, exactly. Very macabre, but very interesting set of legacies that we got.
Yeah, that is very interesting. I mean, to have that history and to have those moments and times captured.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's an interesting filing system. What other categories did you have?
That was the only one that I inherited. But yeah, you sort of wish that they had memories that were happy and a little more joyful, but you take what you can get, right? We all do.
That's right. Oh, wow.
All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and share the score sheet next.
Okay. So here we have, it looks like Homer Thiel. Is that how you pronounce his last name?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. He was our MVP and one of our bounty hunters, along with S. Stevenson. So about halfway through the week, Celia actually posts the brick walls so that they can work on those. They're just kind of random throughout the 7 degrees from you that is picked. And then it's an opportunity for them to win bounty points. So those ones are the bigger scores. So that's kind of fun. So those were our MVP and our bounty hunters. And you can see down there at the bottom in the second column, the total number of profiles that were created during the challenge week was 398.
Wow.
So you started off at 677 connections, and it increased by 650. So now you're at 1,327. So you got your 1K badge on your profile. You've got over 1,000 connections.
About a 97% increase.
I can tell I'm going to be spending the next week doing nothing but going on WikiTree and posting thank yous. So.
You've got about 398.
So one of the links there at the top is really kind of a fun thing for us. It's distances, and what this gives you is a view of the participants of the challenge for so far in the year, and you can see the distance from you to them as the week progressed. And we actually had quite a few that changed a lot.
This is a very impressive display. Sometimes it's
yeah,
not really as exciting.
Interesting.
So ahead by 23. Oh no,
Yeah.
that's decreased by 10. Decreased
by 10, but still.
It's there.
Usually, once we get to a common ancestor, getting it to drop like maybe 1 or 2 is impressive.
Yeah. And look at Tommy's decreased by 13. Is that the largest decrease?
I think there's actually.
There's 19.
Yeah, 19.
Eowyn.
Yeah,
Our
you
forest
got really close. You jumped closer to Eowyn.
From 43 to 24. Wow.
And you can, if you click that common ancestor highlight there, that will show you the path, the connection path between you guys.
11 cousins.
Nice. That's an interesting one. This is a connection I don't even know because the brick wall here, it looks like it was broken through, but I have to.
So you'd know about the Harveys probably.
No, yes, I knew through Alan Harvey. I think Mary is new to me.
Mary's new to you. Okay.
But I knew through Alan Harvey, so this is great. Wow.
Okay.
So the distances is just another aspect of that scoreboard, the score sheet that we like to kind of explore throughout the week, and I think it's all powered by the WikiTree Plus kind of
connection
extension. Yeah, that one. So it's a really great tool that we have. So that's a lot of fun. Okay, so next, Greg has some great graphics to share with you.
I have some graphics. So one of the things that so we talk about the 7 degrees, right? That we measure the CC7. So there's a little app that I created here that gives you a visual of the 7 degrees. So this is what it looked like before with your 669 connections. And basically every dot in this little graphic here represents one of the people, one of those 669. And your face should be in the middle. Pretend your face is in the middle. It was in the middle, except that because you're a living person, when it generated the PDF, it hid it for privacy reasons. So you kind of lose that effect. Anyway, I should have had more time to photo bomb you into it. But anyways,
it's a little hard for me to maintain privacy on this call, so that's okay.
It is though, isn't it? Yeah. And the inner rings, of course, are the first degree, and then as they go out, they're the second degree. The dark ones, the gray ones, those are your direct ancestors. If you're wondering why there's some that are gray and others. Okay. So that's what it looked like before. And today, 1,329, it's quite a bit fuller. So that's just sort of a visual representation of how your connections have changed.
Impressive.
And then we like to play with maps. So all of the profiles that are connected with your challenge are mapped here. And in fact, you'll see the red dots were where they were born and the blue dots are where they died. So you can actually sort of see the migration patterns as well. So there's obviously a cluster in England. There's a cluster in middle of Europe there. And then of course, a whole pile in the US and other places in North America. And if we zoomed in there's the Europe, the zooming. So it looks like the cluster in Europe is Frankfurt, Stuttgart, Zurich, around that area. So there's Germany.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense. My mother's side has a lot of family from the Bavarian area in Switzerland. So the fact that they ran around Central Europe in general is not a surprise. The Italian one down at the bottom there looks a little surprising. I wasn't aware that I had Italian ancestors. That'd be worth exploring. The Poland one, I'm not too surprised because a lot of Germans have Polish ancestry, but that one, again, I don't know, or I didn't know, so that's worth exploring. So there's a lot of stuff there
they're not just relatives, though. It could be somebody may have an Italian wife or...
True. Fair enough. Yeah.
A brother-in-law, sister-in-law's mother or something.
Yeah.
There is, as they say, they could be relations rather than relatives. If people split.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
We fall down rabbit holes of different families.
Yep,
that's right. And then
that's wonderful. That's a nice,
North American view there. Very
I
heavy
was intrigued.
concentration in the Northeast, eh?
There is. Well, yeah, that's not too surprising. My ancestors I have a lot of English and early Germans and early Irish, the Scots-Irish.
Mhm.
So the fact that they came over there, they actually stayed mostly in Pennsylvania and further north, so they didn't go into the Appalachians like a lot of the Scotch-Irish did. So
That's
the fact
still
that,
Appalachians.
yeah, no, I know. It's just not. It's not the traditional.
It's not Appalachia.
Yeah, right. It's very good. It's not Appalachia.
Ooh.
You're right. That's exactly right. South of the Mason-Dixon line, it's Appalachia. Thank you very much. But yeah, they didn't go down the Cumberland Valley or whatever that channel was going down south. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, this is not surprising. A lot of them then ended up, families went out to California and so on. So that side of things, not that surprising either. That's probably the more recent ones, but obviously exploring this would be wonderful to find out. The one that I noticed on the larger zoomed out map that was interesting was the one who ran up and died apparently just north of the Arctic Circle. He was marked as up there. You see some of the arrows going up there now, but yeah, the guy that went up there and died in blue.
Sometimes
that means that the person, that profile, all they put down was Canada.
Okay.
Probably. Sometimes it means more specific things, but quite often,
I mean, it could be south of Yellowknife. Yellowknife is on the north side of the Great Slave Lake. There, but, I mean, it could be the location on Northwest Territories.
Yeah, and these are just screenshots of the WikiTree Plus map. So if you're in the actual WikiTree Plus site, you can actually drill down into these maps, and you can click on it. It takes you to the profile. So, but we just like to show the actual, screenshots for you. And I'll get you the link to this Google Drive folder too, so that you can have them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you would be able to find these by doing a search for your CC7.
Right.
Fair. Okay.
So in the WikiTree Plus, which you probably haven't investigated yet.
Not yet.
It's basically a database that's run by Alesh. One of he runs a lot of the server stuff for WikiTree, and it allows you to do queries on the WikiTree data and present it and explore it. So if we search for your 6943,
yeah.
If we did the CC7 and search for that, that's the code. It brings up. What I really want to do is I want to increase the number of profiles.
And that is the standard process: is you do the search and go, oh wait, I need to expand the search.
That's right. What am I doing? Yeah. So there we go. So 789 profiles are pulled up. It does not pull up any private profiles or any ones that are project protected or whatnot in this database. And then you can just click on the map button and it automatically opens up this map. And we can see if this map includes the Italian one. There it is. We can zoom right in and find out, click on that, and it shows you who it was. Ludwig Pfister, also known as Fester, who was born in the Heilige Römisches Reich.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, so Roman Reich, and that would be...
That's just the Holy Roman Empire,
Yeah.
so I'm guessing it's not actually Italy.
Exactly. No, fair enough. That's okay.
So
but
that's
about the
find
Poland
somewhere
one.
to put it. Put the dot.
Right.
Right.
So Holy Roman Empire probably meant further north, but that's okay.
Okay.
That's
And
cool.
we could open
What about
up
the
his...
Poland one, Greg?
Oh, the Poland one. Okay, let's go back to Poland.
And that was Sarah Fester's husband. Sorry, so that was Sarah Fester's father. So that's...
Oh,
I know where he is in my...
You know him. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I clicked on this dot, it pulled up two. And if I zoomed
just
in,
Russia in general. Okay, it's another one where it's going to be a large region.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's yeah, and I know the Hippensteels. I don't know the Zons, or if that's interesting. That one I will have to investigate.
Well, she is
That's
very
probably someone-
interesting. Not only did she went from
I thought
Prussia
she died in Italy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
but she was the
Prussia
mother of
to
Susan.
Milan.
And Susan Jenny Zahn White. Okay, but all of those, somebody broke through a brick wall for me, so I have to look at those. The Whites I knew back a ways, but this is a woman who married into the Whites, and their spouses were not always well documented. So clearly, that's one that married into one of my families. I'm guessing, but I'm not sure. Interesting. Huh.
Married
She must
Philip
have been
Zahn.
traveling.
Yeah. She died in Milan, huh?
Farmer of Keeping House. Interesting.
All right. So you want to get back to
Yeah. Okay.
you've fallen down another rabbit hole.
You mean
Yeah.
you're falling down a rabbit hole? What do you
Just like
mean?
to refocus Greg periodically.
Yeah, guys, I'm sorry, but I do not have this much vacation.
So I did similar maps using each of your grandparents as the focus, and many of them are very similar. It's going to take a sec, of course, to load, as it always does. Interesting, on the Vance side, the North American was basically restricted to just the U.S., the continental U.S.
That makes sense.
But when you got to your mother's side, and maybe I can just, which would have been, let's see.
Excuse me. Yeah, my mother is the more recent. I mean, she descends from more recent immigrants. She still remembers older family members holding traditions in German, for instance.
Oh, really?
My father's family had been in the States long enough that he has no ethnic memories per se. They were of origins from Ireland, Wales, some Germany, but they had been in the States long enough for enough generations that he had no surviving traditions of that sort of thing. But my mother did, so her ancestry would have been documented more recently, of course, too. But she was hers was part English, part German, so that a lot of these are probably from her. But yeah,
right. So there's on the Gates side. So there's where the Italy one came from. There's Austria, and then you get some Canadian, or at least southern. Looks like they're getting into Canada there.
A few, yeah.
A few, not much, but a little bit. So the other thing, so those are maps. You can check those out, or again, we can give you the details on how to go into the WikiTree Plus and check out the dynamic maps, because that's actually the fun part. Yeah.
When I send you the link for the Google Drive, one of the other links I send you is the query for WikiTree Plus for your active challenge week. So instead of active challenge that you're seeing on those images, it is actually the challenge week, which is just the start date, basically.
Right.
Nice.
So that's part of the email that I'll send you. So you can just click that link and it takes you right to WikiTree Plus. All you have to do then is hit get profiles.
Well, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
So the other thing that we do with the WikiTree Challenge is we ask the people who work on it as they go through if they have any interesting finds they'd like to share. And so what I like to do is I like to take their interesting finds and highlight the person and give them I call it a Monopoly card because of the way it looks. So here is one interesting find. He's your great-great-grandfather. And what I should do is pull up, I should pull up the thing so I can read why, unless someone else wants to.
I loved the way that all of the Fred Gates and all of his siblings are named after semi-precious stones.
My great-grandmother named her children, so for those who didn't see this, the two girls were Pearl and Ruby Gates. The boys
Gates.
The boys were Robert Diamond. The boys were Robert Diamond Gates, Fred Emerald Gates, William Jasper Gates, and blanking on the fourth son. There were 6 kids, and my great grandmother called them her 6 jewels.
Her 6.
That is so sweet.
Very
I mean, my
nice.
grandfather told me these stories, obviously, but yeah, it's that's Pearl and Ruby were stuck with the names of gemstones. The others could decide to hide them or not. if they wanted.
Sapphire, Daniel Sapphire.
Yeah, Daniel Sapphire. Thank you for looking it up. Yes, but my father was Fred Emerald Gates, and he, he had to explain that a lot of times. So.
Now, did you get a jewel in your name?
I did not. No, I got a lump of coal, I think.
Dave Carbon.
I do know though this one I actually happened to see, and we did know this, but it's nice that they found it. Robert Gates and his wife Eliza were on Gull Lake in around Michigan, which I've been to. They were rowing across the lake to visit some neighbors, and they had three sons who were 12, 14, and I forget the other son's age, but and the two parents, the boat obviously capsized. They were lost. Mm-hmm. They got caught in the weeds and they were not found for days. And so they finally, there's a whole story of this that was in the papers for a long time. The local community, they would put a cannon out on the shore and fire the cannon across the lake because the vibrations would make bodies rise up from the lake. And so that was the only way they had to try to get the bodies up. And eventually, I don't think that was ever successful, but they eventually found them. And of course, it was a whole big thing. But but a very good researcher did find this, and that's excellent work. I didn't put that in my WikiTree stuff. I hadn't had time to put the details, and they uncovered that. That was really nice.
Was this in your death folder?
No, this was not. This was the other side of my family. Oh, believe me, it certainly would have been.
It would have fit.
Thank you for the dark humor, Celia.
Way to go, Celia.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, don't read anything.
Did we get any railroad wrecks this time?
No railroad wrecks.
I don't remember.
Oh dear.
So the
don't
next
read anything into it that we know more about how our ancestors died than anything else, right?
I know, that's kind of sad. But the next interesting find, which was actually done by our posted by our MVP, is John Vance, who's another great-great-grandfather. Mm-hmm. And he received a second-place award for Best Blooded Stallion at the 28th Annual Fair of Columbia County in Pennsylvania.
And this one I did not know, and this was very interesting. I saw this on the page as well, and that's really cool. The Columbia County had a fair, and they may still have it, I'm not sure, but in the 1800s, it was a big shindig, and they got luminaries from all over America, at least from all over the U.S., to come in and speech and do all these things. It was part political, it was part farming, it was part all sorts of things. But it was one of the early, really big, all county fairs, basically. And they had all sorts of things. I was not aware that he won a prize there. So
there you go. The next one is.
You know what? I bet it's Bloomsburg Fair now.
Yeah, it could be Bloomsburg Fair now, absolutely, because they live just outside of Bloomsburg.
That's huge. The Bloomsburg Fair is huge. I grew up in Union County.
Okay, all right. Yeah, my ancestors grew up mostly around Orangeville, just north of Bloomsburg. But
so it's like, for people who don't know, it's like 15, 20 miles from where I grew up.
There you go. And there, in fact, not to suggest that my ancestor John Vance might have had an in there, but his brother Michael Chamberlain Vance was a judge in the Bloomsburg Fair for many years. So, I'm going to have to check the year he got that award and see if there's going on there. But anyway.
That's wild. The next interesting find was Melanie posted this one. And there's a bit of a discrepancy between what's written here and what's on the profile. So I've asked her but she's not available this week. So she wasn't able to get back to me with details, except for the fact that doesn't have very good communication where is at right now. But when she posted, she had said that your great-great-grandmother, your second greats are very, very notable. They're all doing wonderful things.
That's right.
He had 17 children, only 9 of who were living when her youngest daughter Bertha was born. But going to her profile, it looked like, do I have her here? Yeah, I have her here. There's only 12 of them listed. And
Well, that they just might not have gotten that.
So they might have, so that could be just it, you know, that
Yeah.
the other ones weren't named, which is probably, but she did say that she had got that information from, that it wasn't on her, it was on one of her children's profiles. So it is definitely probably accurate, but
it's probably maybe the youngest child, because that was mentioned.
Right. So here, there we go. There's the 12 that we do have so far.
I definitely didn't know about all of these. I knew some of their children, but not all of them.
Yeah. So here's 12 we know for sure, and there could be a bunch more as well. It looks like we have birth dates, but not necessarily death dates for all of them yet. So still more room for additional.
This is one of Greg's apps also. It's an excellent app.
Nice.
Yeah. So this is. Yeah,
I feel for women I find in my ancestry and in others who were essentially in childbirth basically bearing children for 15 or 20 years or so. I mean, it's amazing that they even survived the whole thing. But
yeah.
It's an incredible. The next one, Anna Horton. So this is interesting. Anna Horton is not in your CC7, but what they found interesting was the fact that she actually was related because of the relationship. She has a double relationship through her mother. It was Huldah Hughes. So here's her mother, and her grandmother Anna Brown married twice. So her mother's half brother, she ended up marrying her mother's half brother, which is kind of weird.
Her half uncle, basically.
Half uncle, so it's a half uncle, So this is from my what I call the super tree program, because it allows you to go up and down and sideways and show all these different types of relationships. And I've circled, so Anna shows up here twice on this chart, circled in red, and her husband is circled in blue. Her mother and her grandmother are circled in green, so hopefully you can follow the path. See, Anna is married twice. There's one marriage to Napoleon, which Huldah is descended from, and then this other marriage to Minor Porter. It's interesting. And anyways, your connection to Anna goes from here up to your grandmother, your grandmother's sister's husband's mother's second husband's daughter.
Second husband's roommate, yes, right.
So we're going way beyond the CC7. But someone did that. Someone found that relationship somehow.
I think it's only 1 or 2. I think it might be 8 or 9.
Oh, really?
So.
Oh yeah, I think you know what? I added this. I added this because it went straight back down. I thought no, but it's not. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because she had 2 husbands, I wanted to be explicit about which one Anna was really that was it.
Sometimes it gets too excited. We get too involved and keep going past the.
Sometimes, yeah. And then the last one is Elmer, which is interesting. So what's interesting about Elmer is he's CC5. He's only 5 degrees away from you, or 5 steps. So he'd be your great aunt's husband, right?
Yep.
If I'm reading that right. But he's also actually a cousin. And there is a distant cousin.
Yes.
But
I did not know that I was related to. Just for interest's sake, Elmer and his wife Eliza were living on the farm when their mother died, and Eliza is the one who wrote the letter that I have.
Oh wow!
That was telling them that their mother had passed. So just FYI, that connects. But yeah, Elmer was actually doing the work. According to Eliza, Elmer had picked up the work that their mother wasn't. I mean, their mother was relatively old by then, but you know, so she was apparently doing a lot of work around the farm, and Elmer had to pitch in to be able to do it all. But anyway,
Wow.
But interesting. I did not know that I was related to him on the other side as well. That's nice.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
As I think I said at the start, I have no known pedigree collapse in the ancestors that I was able to research, which is a reflection of the fact that they all came from different places, right? I mean, obviously there's probably some pedigree collapse or some endogamy if you go back far enough in the original countries. But when they came to the States, they were all, you know, either German or Irish or whatever, and they tended to keep to themselves, and they didn't, you know, now of course that broke down after a few generations. But I have no real endogamy that I'm aware of, no real pedigree collapse. And so it's interesting that I see these things pop up in related lines, because I don't know how I missed that, to be honest. But
well, that one was my thing, and the only reason I really noticed it is because it's the same line that I'm related to you on.
Gotcha.
He's exactly where we form a triangle. He's equal distance from both of us.
Oh, I didn't add it because it was there right at the beginning, and I didn't think too much of it. But our closest connection is through the Gates family, which I think I told you about during the opening chat. And I was expecting our closest connection in general to be through that line, because it's not that distant. But it is through that family, except we both have cousins from each side of our branches of the Gates family who married each other, and so our closest connection is through that marriage and not through the blood relation, according to
interesting, yeah. And the Gateses, of course, were, you know, here before the Vikings or something. I mean, they came really early and settled in up in New England, and they've documented their history back to, you know, the early 1600s and beyond, right? So they've got a long lineage. So it's not, once you connect to them, you get gateway ancestors that give you a long lineage back there. But
So to answer your question, Dave, you do have you have to go back 11 generations to find repeat ancestors.
There you go.
So this is another app that I've created for WikiTree called the Ancestor Webs. And I had to go back 11 generations to find where you have a duplicate. So John Clark and Mary Strong, you're connected through 2 of their children.
Gotcha.
And then also on the other side,
John Simons. Okay, good to know. Thank you.
And that's through
that
through
app
the
is
Gates.
so fun. I just discovered it. I think mine was at 9. I can't remember now. I was playing with it at Roots Tech for the first time. But thanks for making it. Super cool.
Yeah, no problem. And the cool thing about it, and that's what I use this, because if you add a second person, so I added Elmer, and then when I go to common, it shows that connection.
Nice.
Now, I've got French Canadian background, so when I do this, it's a rat's nest.
It's a straight line. It's pretty much a straight line.
It goes from 2 repeats at 1 generation, and then it jumps to 43, and then 78. And it's just crazy.
I was just doing a project for a friend of mine whose family is from Pike County, Kentucky, and it's exactly the same way.
yeah, that's right.
So if you go to the challenge space page, another thing that I don't know if you knew, Dave, is we found some notables. So within 7 degrees of you, and on this space page, when it says within CC7, that's a link actually to WikiTree Plus for that query.
Nice.
But here he is, Samuel. If you want to open that profile.
Yeah, there we go. Samuel Field Phillips.
So he was go ahead.
Well, I was going to say he was born 1824 in Harlem, New York. Passed away at the age of 79, 1903, in Washington, D.C.
I did not know that I had a relationship with him.
Were you familiar with the man, though?
I think I've heard the name.
Civil rights pioneer, lawyer, politician, served as the second Solicitor General for the United States. So just kind of nice to know. But you can, as
Pussy versus Ferguson, or the Pussy v. Ferguson, case is well known, of course, and so I've probably heard his name in context of that or something. But
Okay.
Yeah. So as your CC7 grows, you can check that again. There's another query on the space page that's linked there that shows your notable ancestors. And of course, once you get back a certain way, there's a lot of them that are really old, far distance from you. But the 3 there are just some of the ones listed. But anyway, you can, as you keep getting more connections and increase that, then you can kind of refresh that query and see how many more you might have.
Yeah,
just kind of a fun.
That's the range where the documentation gets a little tenuous as well.
Yeah,
and you're never sure whether or not. And my usual comment is that you might have brick walls, or you might have what I call stained glass windows, which is where you see, you can sort of dimly see through them as to who the ancestors might be, but you don't have really good documentation for that.
Right.
So, but yep.
Yeah. So, and then the next section, of course, is we talked about during the kickoff was the military profile. So you can kind of peruse that at your leisure, but
Revolutionary War.
Nice to know. I'm sure there are more. These are just ones that people added and they noted it on the space page for you.
I've got a number of ancestors. I have a number of older ancestors who documented back to join the Daughters of the American Revolution and so on. In fact, Pearl Gates, who I spoke of before, she was one of the 6 jewels. She worked harder than anyone I know of to document her line back to the DAR, and she got the letters, she got the plaque, she got the certificate and all that stuff, and I inherited all of that, and she was so proud of it. She wrote all of her family, and she told them that she got it, and it's just a big deal for her. And it was nice to see that she was that invested in both her ancestry and that connection, and that achievement meant something to her a lot. So anyway,
there's actually an app too, another app that you can use from your profile that will show you like the revolutionary Magna Carta. It'll show you any connections you have to Magna Carta and all that. So just kind of
Ancestor Explorer app, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
So Greg, why don't you show him how to find the tree apps?
Oh, okay.
From his profile.
Yes.
So from your profile, here we are, Dave's profile. Actually, when you're on your profile, this jump links bar, I call it the sticky bar, is always the top. And this icon at the very far right will take you into the tree apps. And if we click on that, it'll open up. And it'll open up the last app that you're in. So you can see the last app I was in was the Super Tree. The fan chart is one of those apps that will load up. And there's a 5 generation, and you can add more generations.
I'll be going in adding pictures and doing things too, just so that we get this fleshed out.
Yeah. Now Elaine was adding some pictures, but
yeah, I started too late. Sorry.
It's too late.
I got a few on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Elaine. If you put the one of my father and his twin, Jerry, on there, I saw that one. That was a good find. There's one, I think that's the one that's there in my father's profile there. It was of 2 boys, but there are a few that have made it out there, but I didn't. And of course, they're on Ancestry and a lot of other places, so I need to populate WikiTree with the things.
Yeah.
But it's,
I took them from your Ancestry, like you said we could, but also I found one that was from, I meant to have the profile pulled up. It was like a great uncle who was in World War II, and he's in the center of the picture underneath a U.S. Navy plane with 4 other pilots surrounding him. But it was taken by somebody else, so I didn't put it on there.
Right,
but
understood.
Anyway,
but that one I don't know, so that's interesting. Thank you.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat. Actually, I can just go to my contributions and find it real quick. Anyway.
So we were going to show you the Ancestor Explorer app from here.
So that was Ancestor
Lines Explorer.
Is it Lines Explorer? Yeah. I didn't remember the word lines was in it. No, this isn't the one, I don't think. Is it?
People of interest, I think. Oh no. Yeah, you're right.
Where is it?
Whoever came up with the line "anonymize the living" on there sounds like it's
threatening. Keep it up,
right,
and I'm going to anonymize your living.
Exactly. That sounds a little threatening. It sounds like a secret society motto or something.
One of our problems is we have too many cool toys, and
yeah, that's right.
Oh, I can tell. Yes, I'm gonna.
That's right. Yeah. This isn't the one. No, this is
Here, I'll send you the link. If you just go to Find Apps.
Oh, is it? It's not a tree app, then, is it?
Yeah, I don't. It looks different on the other page, so it's the second one there. Yeah.
Right. There we go. So if we put in Vance 6943. Okay, and then we can go. Well, let's see.
You want to zoom in?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. There we go. Is that better?
Yeah. So like, just do Revolutionary. Isn't the Revolutionary War one of them?
It is. I think U.S. Civil War.
Civil War. There's the War of 1812.
I actually, well, strangely enough, I have no ancestors that I know of who participated in the Civil War. I think. Oh no, that's not true. Robert Gates should show up. He was a wagon master.
How many generations back do I need to go for that? If I go 15, that'll easily get there.
Well, if it's going to do the research, go 25. But no, sorry.
So this is just another great app. Part of the community at WikiTree is volunteers. So we have a whole project of volunteer developers that make all these great tools for us. So we just love them.
My family has 3 letters from the Civil War from soldiers who were there that were friends of my ancestor John Vance, actually the one that was in that line. He had friends who wrote back to him from the Civil War, and they still have 3 letters. I have copies of them, but they never would allow me to actually have the letters themselves, but that's okay. But anyway, they're not terribly of terrible historical value. They're just interesting letters from a family standpoint.
There it is, American Revolution. Yeah, do that one. And so just do it out. Yeah, as far as
Greg's Canadian, he gets confused.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes. No, I know the Civil War was different than the Revolution, but I was. Oh, right. Yes, not fighting amongst yourselves. Sorry,
well,
I am Canadian.
At that time, they were fighting amongst themselves, right?
It depends on what side of the story you're on. I mean,
yeah, right. Exactly.
Right.
As far as the British are concerned, we were fighting amongst ourselves.
That's right.
I was living in England for 4 years, and a man explained the game of cricket to me, and he happened to mention that it was invented in 1776. And I looked at him and I said, "Oh, that's when you lost the colonies."
They had to consult.
He looked at me very seriously. And he raised an eyebrow and said, "Not all of them."
I love it.
That's right.
Which I thought was an excellent reply.
An excellent response. That is right. Now, is 15? Should I have gone back further than 15 generations?
No.
I can understand it might take some time. So
there we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Interesting.
There's a Gates. Shocking.
Shocking. Actually, he was fairly young in the Revolutionary War. I wasn't aware. I have to look up his records again. I don't remember that he did something. He clearly did because he's there. But yeah.
And all this means is that they have the DAR sticker. So you could have other ancestors as well.
Right.
It's just that
sorry.
It just means the sticker hasn't been put on the profile yet.
Oh, thank you. I was excited to note that it says he was Captain Daniel Gates, who performed patriotic service in New York in the American Revolution. So obviously he had a commission of some kind and was there. So,
Sergeant, it looks like. Before that as well.
Okay. And so presumably this takes you to somewhere, the Sons of the...
It takes you to that website, to the NSDAR. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
NSSDAR.
So the ranks, except for the very well known people, the ranks in the U.S. And the U.S. Revolutionary War were not that well documented. So you get people who have an ancestor who served in their, and they have them listed on Ancestry as like an 8-star general or something because
they couldn't check the records, so you could just say whatever you wanted.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So
the other thing we saw the maps, but sometimes it's nice to see an actual list of the locations that we came across within 7 degrees of you.
Up a little higher.
Go up just a little bit more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There.
It's free. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
so I do have some Canadian. I actually do have more Canadian ancestry than I know of, so that's interesting. But
there you go.
Yeah, so from WikiTree Plus, I just did a query on your challenge week, and then it gives you can actually have it break out by birth region, and so that gives me this breakout for us here, which is kind of nice.
One thing I will say as an addendum to this is that one big thing is that even though we weren't able to break through all 4 of them, we do have specific locations for the birthplaces of each of your great-great-grandparents on your.
And thank you for that. I saw the birth of one of them there from Switzerland, and I knew the family story was she came from Switzerland, but we didn't have a birth location. So I'm going to look at that very closely because that'll.
Yeah, we found the birth locations thanks to the marriage documents in the U.S.
I saw that actually, and I don't think we knew that marriage document existed. So that's great. I'm going to definitely, I am over the moon that anybody spent any time on this stuff because we've poured over it so much that it's difficult to look at it with a fresh eye. So the fact that people did is just wonderful, and I don't really care if you found things we did. That just validates what we found. So I appreciate that too. But I will say it's exciting that people found some things we didn't find as well, right? So that's great.
Yeah, it's that's one of the great things is this collaborative genealogy or crowdsourced genealogy. People from all over the world, really, Australia, England, so it's Canada. So yeah, it's really great because they have different. They come at it from a different perspective, maybe. So
well, and they have experience with different parts of the world research, or they know where to look for records, or they have done this before many times, and the things that we haven't, right? So that's all wonderful. It is a team sport in a lot of ways, and that's a great thing. So.
Yeah. All right. So, Elaine or Thomas, do you have anything that you wanted to share specifically or talk about?
Not me, Thomas. If you have anything.
Well, there were a few things that I was going to follow up on and then just didn't have the time for, unfortunately. But I spent most of the time working on your grandmother's side of the family to see how much of that we could break through. And we were very fortunate with those marriage documents. And with the Angers box, we have been able to take them back a few more generations, and I'm sure that the records exist to do more work on that side of the family. It's just a matter of finding them. That area is very well documented, though. It's also not far away from where my Koehnline ancestors were from, so I've done work in the general area before. I was not doing most of the work on the Bear family, though, so I can't speak to that. And I know Karen was looking into Swiss records for the Rudas, but didn't get very far with that. The biggest interesting thing is that the location we have for the Deans, or however the original form of that name was, because it's spelt a few different ways on different records. She's listed as having been born in a place called Amalienruhe, which is getting the state that it's in now. But it's in the town of Sulzfeld in Sachsen-Meiningen, which is pretty much right smack in the center of the country. And Amalienruhe is a manor estate. It's a big property that was developed by some of the nobility in that area. And so there are no records I can find online for Sulzfeld anywhere, which means, I'm sure they exist. They just haven't been digitized. They don't appear to be on Archeon even. But if you can figure that out, it would be really interesting to see what they were doing at this big manor estate.
It would be. You're right. And I will say that the other sort of standard North American thing that I have in my ancestry is that pretty much all of my ancestors who came over to North America did it in steerage because they didn't have any money to pay for any births anywhere. So they were, there. If anybody's going to be documented, it's not probably going to be them. So that also has hampered our degree of research to a large extent, right? But that's okay.
Is there anything you want me to show, Thomas, or are you?
I mean, if you want to go to, let's see, Jakob Karl Angersbach's profile, we can take a look at what we've got.
How do I get there from the fan chart, for example?
That's the great-great-grandfather on the paternal side.
I'm sitting here pointing at it, Greg. Can't you see where I'm pointing?
Are you? No, I can't, unfortunately.
Bottom right.
Right, it's the bottom right.
Bottom right. Jakob Karl. That guy?
Yeah.
There we go.
And go to the ancestors. We can see what we have so far. So we didn't take this as far back as we might have liked. The mother was born illegitimately. We know absolutely nothing about her father. There's nothing about her father on any of the records. Her stepfather is listed a couple times, so I did a little bit of work on his family too, but that didn't lead to anything particularly interesting. But we have the names of the parents of a whole bunch of the other people we have on here that just haven't been added yet because we were looking for more records. But they seem to be very firmly situated in this area around Heinzheim in Baden.
Yep.
And as I said, it's very well documented. So
nice.
There's plenty more work to be done there.
Well, and this, we knew this father and his wife, we knew their daughter, but not these not these generations. So this is a breakthrough of a brick wall. This is great by itself, right? So this is wonderful.
Is this the brick wall that you were talking about, Thomas, that had gotten broken through by Anne?
I'm not
sure. Different
one. I'm not sure I was the one talking about that either.
Okay, maybe it was Elaine.
It was actually Celia, I believe. But...
Celia, okay, sorry. I know it wasn't me. I did not get a chance to work on your tree this week, Dave.
It was something mentioned in the Discord chat for the channel.
She didn't mention exactly what it was, so I don't know. But she did mention, she'd asked specifically about your ancestry tree, if that was as far as you knew, accurate as far as you knew, and said, oh, I took it back farther. So I'm not sure where. I guess maybe it's a treasure hunt for you.
Yeah, there you go.
I will have to check that.
I'll send her a message and see what I can find out of which one it was for.
Usually it's English, but she is multifaceted. So
yeah. And just to note, the Harriet Zahn that that we thought died in Italy. It was actually not Milan, Italy that she died. It's Milan, Iowa.
Oh, really?
So I just looked at the newspaper article. It actually says, so it was just Ancestry had done the record transcription and put Milano, Italy instead of
I mean, it does make more sense, but
that's right.
That's how family stories get started, right?
And she was from Wurtemberg, is what it has on the newspaper article too. So just some fun information there for you. Just found out.
I lived less than half an hour away from a town called Hindustan, and I had no idea how that happened.
All right. Well, if nobody has anything else, I think we're good to wrap up. It's been a really great week. Everybody had a lot of fun working on your challenge, and I'm gonna say we have the Connect-a-thon coming up. I won't be surprised if you find your CC7 increasing, because we've had that happen before where people just want to kind of keep working and extending it out. So that might happen to you. You might see your 2K badge show up.
Okay, well, thank you. If I have time, I'd like to. I mean, I'm going to thank everybody, right? Of course, but I'd like to thank WikiTree because you made this possible, and that's really great. I think it's wonderful that you do this for people and so on. But most especially, of course, everybody on the phone and everybody who worked on this. I'm just you know, I've been so excited that people are actually spending time looking over this to, you know, because extra eyes help, because experienced researchers help, because, you know, different perspectives help, because of a lot of things that you guys bring to this. And I'm just, thank you for spending time of this effort on mine. I mean, that's, and thank you for doing it for other people. I mean, I wish I had time to do this kind of thing. This would be something I'd love to do. So that's just, I can't tell you how thankful I am that you guys spent time on this. So I appreciate it very much.
Oh, you're so welcome. We had a blast. All right. So the next challenge is coming up. Look for the G2G join post coming soon. Probably show up on Monday next week. And it'll be announced on Monday.
Cool.
It'll be another genealogy star. Ooh. So we're looking forward to that. And I think the next thing we have coming up, of course, is a Saturday roundup here on YouTube. Just stay tuned for that. And again, thank you everybody for all your hard work. Thank you for tuning in, and everybody who's watching on the replay. We'll see you around the tree. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.